Tonight, in this edition of the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, Tombi Aroko Sidiki, Cameroon's president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, failed to show up in court today, where the case between him, Abdurrahman and co was expected to take place. Reports say that he is on a mission in South Africa. Also in this newscast, after dozens of students marched the streets of Yaoundé and Bamenda Northwest region of the country to thank the head of state for promising to distribute laptops to them, the Association for the Defense of Students' Rights, known in its French acronym as ADEC, has distanced itself from the move, saying that it was uncalled for and politically motivated. Also in this newscast, we talk about the Economic Partnership Agreement, which has kicked off today, and it would foster Cameroon's industrial development. Those were the words of the European Union Commissioner in Cameroon, the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today. Good evening to you once again, televiewers. This is the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. The battle between Tombi Aroko Sidiki, Abdurrahman and co, ever since he became president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, is far from being over. Tombi Aroko Sidiki, who is out of Cameroon, was expected in court today to answer charges of forgery that is being levied against him. Let's have the details with Roland Akon.
Tombi Aroko Sidiki is accused of forgery and usurpation of title. Accusations levied on the president of the Cameroon Football Federation by Abdurrahman Amadou, president of Echua Filant of Garoua, Emmanuel Loga and Bel Joseph Antoine. The case file lodged at the Mfundi Court of First Instance did not come up for hearing Thursday, as Tombi is reportedly on mission out of the country. The matter is linked to the election last year of Tombi Aroko as president of Fecafoot. The trio are challenging the election based on a verdict of the National Olympic Committee last November. They are also challenging a release by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education empowering Tombi as president of Fecafoot. Tombi has been in a regular legal battle in and out of the country since his election last year as president of the Cameroon Football Federation.
And the battle, as Roland Akon indicated few seconds ago, has been ever since he became the president of the Cameroonian Football Federation. Now the head of the European Union Commission in Cameroon has declared that the Economic Partnership Agreement signed between Cameroon and the European Union would foster industrial development in the country. He was speaking today in Yaoundé as the agreement, ratified in 2014, went into force this 4th of August 2016. Import and export between Cameroon and the European Union would be free of custom duties as a result. Reason why economic experts in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, hold that Cameroon is going to lose billions of francs CFA as a result of the Economic Partnership Agreement that is going into effect as from today. The experts are saying that Cameroon cannot be able to stand the strong European competition. Roland Akon once again has the details.
Trade barriers between Cameroon and the EU are supposed to be dismantled Thursday. The dismantling of trade barriers, economic experts say, is more of a threat than an opportunity to Cameroon. As Cameroon, they claim, will lose billions of francs CFA to the deal. About 80% of the EU goods will be free from duties entering Cameroon. At the head office of the upgrading of enterprises in Cameroon, we sought to know whether Cameroon will be able to stand the strong European competition. We were told that Cameroon is still struggling to upgrade 600 enterprises to stand the strong European competition. The dismantling of barriers, we learn, begins after the publication of a document containing the rules of application, and that it will be done progressively by a group of products. That 25% is a reduction on exoneration for the first group of products. And products that Cameroon exports to the EU market include banana, transformed cocoa products, wood, fruits and vegetables. The EU products to enjoy tariff-free exportation to Cameroon include industrialized machines, medical equipment, computer and other machines. Government says the partnership agreement opens Cameroon to a bigger market for its product.
The rate of execution of the public investment budget in Mongo Division in the littoral region of Cameroon stands at some 41%, reason why municipal authorities and other stakeholders concerned with the execution of the public investment budget in that part of Cameroon have been called upon to accelerate the execution rate of their projects and to be able to meet the expected deadline. Our reporter Jacques Ekwekinge tells us in the following report that was during a meeting which took place recently. His report.
The late publication of call for tender by councils, non-follow-up of the execution of projects by contractors, and the lack of finances are some of the problems, according by members of the divisional committee for the follow-up of public investment budget in the Mongo, that account for the delay and poor execution of projects carried out under the public investment budget for 2016.
À toutes les parties prenantes le rôle essentiel de chacun dans la chaîne d'exécution du suivi du BIP.
Members of the follow-up committee of the public investment budget in the Mongo met recently in Kongsamba, chief town of the Mongo division, to evaluate the level of execution of projects assigned to councils in the Mongo division for the 2016 public investment budget. Already into the second semester of the execution of these projects, with just 41% of the physical realization, it was based on this result that the divisional delegate of the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development called on the municipal authorities and stakeholders to accelerate the execution of these projects in an effort to meet up with the full execution of the project by the end of the 2016 public investment budget.
D'ouvrages qui sont les déclencheurs des projets, mettre la pédale sur l'accélérateur.
Nonetheless, the municipal authorities also used the opportunity to express some of their grievances as concerns the execution of these projects, like the non-respect of the term of contract by the executing contractors, the non-implication of experts in the execution of most contracts, and the use of inappropriate materials, just to name these few.
What could possibly be the problem with the railway network in Cameroon? Economic experts are still seeking answers. We take you now to the southwest region of the country, where economists are preoccupied with the situation of railway network in Cameroon, which has seen no major development for decades now. The railway line in Cameroon is still not connected ever since the railway line went into operation in 1901. That was precisely in the southwest region of the country. This was at the center of a meeting that took place in Boya, southwest region of Cameroon. We shall be coming back to that in a subsequent newscast. Now, the population of Kongsamba, still in the Mongo division of Cameroon, have taken it upon themselves to single-handedly tackle the problem of inundations. This is after waiting for solutions from council officials to no avail, or that it has taken so long for council officials to provide solutions. And Ayuk has the details.
The rainy season is rubbing the people of Kongsamba 1 municipality the wrong way. The fear of having their houses inundated in the wake of heavy rains like in previous years has pushed the locals to think of strategies. Like in other parts of the country, Kongsamba is not exempted from devastating floods. Numerous strategies have been put in place by the locals to stop the rains from getting into their homes.
Cette rigole, quand il pleut là, c'est plein.
L'axe de pont là, comme les rigoles sont fermées là, faut qu'on canalise tout ça.
It is therefore in a bid to arrest the flooding situation in Kongsamba 1 that quarterheads decided to bring the locals together to carry out some human investment works on blocking water canals. The mayor of the locality, El Haj Umaru, thinks the population should be blamed for the blockage of these waterways. He went on to denounce the anarchical construction of houses and the incivility of the population.
Il faut que nous allons tous sur le terrain, curer les caniveaux, essayer de faire le nécessaire pour le drain, faire en sorte qu'il y ait moins d'inondations, sinon éradiquer systématiquement ces inondations-là.
To assist the locals combat floods, the council is providing them with diggers, boots and machetes to dig the ditches and drain stagnant water. The population will be assisted in the exercise by young council interns working these holidays.
Yesterday, we told you how some university students or students representatives of universities across the country converged on Yaoundé to thank the head of state for offering 500,000 laptops to them. ADEC has distanced itself from the move which took place in Yaoundé and Bamenda, respectively. The Association of the Defense of Students' Rights maintained that it was politically motivated and uncalled for. The ADEC president, Thierry Batum, is quoted to have said that computers with no access to internet is not useful, and that it does not address the immediate needs of university students across the country. And he was speaking shortly after students in Yaoundé converged and those of the Northwest region to thank the head of state for distributing or promising to distribute laptops to students. Now we take you right away to news out of Cameroon. Abubakar Shekau has said in a recent statement that he is still leader of the Islamist militant group Boko Haram, despite an announcement by the so-called Islamic State that he had been replaced. Abubakar Shekau accused Al-Banawi of trying to stage a coup against him by announcing in an audio message that he is new leader. It should be recorded that Boko Haram is fighting to overthrow Nigeria's government and establish an Islamic State in the northern part of the country. In 18 months, the group has lost most of its territories that it captured and equally controlled after being pushed back by an offensive Nigerian forces and its neighbors like Cameroon, Chad, and Benin. It should be noted that Cameroon, Chad, Benin, and Nigeria are engaged in the battle against Boko Haram. Several months ago, the president of Chad, Idriss Déby, had declared on the media that Abubakar Shekau was no more. We shall be keeping you updated. Still in news out of Cameroon, a 19-year-old Norwegian man of Somali ancestry remains in police custody in London on suspicion of murdering an American woman in her 60s after deadly assault that took place in London. Investigations are still underway. Let's have the details with Ori News.
A 19-year-old Norwegian man remains in custody in London on suspicion of murder after a deadly assault in Russell Square last night. Police say the suspect is of Somali ancestry. London's Met Police Assistant Commissioner told reporters that a police search of the detainee's property revealed no signs of radicalisation.
All of the work that we have done so far increasingly points to this tragic incident as having been triggered by mental health issues. At this time, we believe it's a spontaneous attack and that the victims were selected at random. I stress, though, that all the work we have done so far does not suggest that those factors in his background are relevant to the motivation for his actions.
One American woman died and 5 other people were injured during the frenzied attack. The nationalities of the injured are Australian, American, British and Israeli.
First thing I saw was a heavily armed police officer with an automatic weapon, and I knew something was afoot. And as we came further down, there was heavy police presence here on Russell Square itself. It came really heavy police presence, and then as we moved further down, we saw the corpse lying on the street. It was just covered in a blanket with blood everywhere.
Just hours before the attack, it was announced that hundreds more armed police would patrol the streets of London. However, no lethal weapon was used to subdue the suspect of the knife attack.
And for a few weeks, some 10,500 athletes will be scrambling for medals at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio that would officially kick off. That's going to be tomorrow. At least 60 sports disciplines will be taking part in the competition. The Cameroon Olympic team arrived at the Games Village that was few days ago and would play their first encounter. That's going to be on Saturday. Tonight, we focus on the flag bearer of the Cameroon's Olympic team. Wilfred Seyi started his remarkable sports career at the age of 16. Roland Akong takes us to his journey in the following report.
The flag bearer of Team Cameroon at the 2016 Rio Olympics won his first gold medal in boxing at the age of 16. It was in 2014 during the Dixiad Games in Yaoundé. At the age of 17 in 2015, Seyi won another gold medal in boxing at the All-African Games in Congo-Brazzaville, showing him as one of the athletes in Cameroon with a bright future. Say who started boxing at 11 tells us he's walking the path of his father, who also a boxer, was Cameroon's champion and Africa's champion in boxing. Boxer. Say he has two role models. He wants to box in the ring just like them. Say who dropped out from school lower seat intends to continue his education. He wants to go back to school while continuing boxing.
And we bring to you updates on what is happening at the Games Village in Rio. Riot police have fired tear gas and pepper spray at protesters in Brazil who were trying to obstruct the passing of the Olympic flame through a poor neighborhood. In Rio, the people are protesting against poor living conditions. Let's have the details with Oro News.
Riot police have fired tear gas and pepper spray at protesters who obstructed the route of the Olympic flame through a poor neighbourhood of Rio. In a neighbouring district, hundreds of people also protested about the unpaid salaries of public workers in Rio State. There have been numerous anti-torch protests by Brazilians, angry that the billions of dollars spent on the Olympic Games could have been used to tackle poverty instead. A video of the incident emerged on social media, including the moment a man displayed the words "Fora Temer" written on his buttocks. Translating as "Out Temer," the man was referring to Brazil's interim president Michel Temer. Rio's mayor Eduardo Paes has formally welcomed the flame to the city, but only last month was criticising city officials, saying that the police were unable to cope with the violent crime that has made Rio infamous. The government is deploying additional police as well as soldiers to beef up security and has assured visitors that Rio, which is notorious for crime, will be safe for them.
Now we continue to talk sports football, this time around within our national territory. The under-17 Indomitable Lions of Cameroon have continued with their training session ahead of the encounter that is going to be taking place on Sunday, the 7th of August. The match would be pitting the Indomitable Lions and their Kenyan counterpart. Today was their third training session ahead of the encounter ever since they arrived to Bafoussam of the West region of Cameroon. The match Sunday would be counting for the Oil Lake match of the second round qualifiers ahead of the 2017 African Cup of Nations for the under-17 Lions. And that is that for this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Viewers, we thank you so much for joining us as usual. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.